All new now at 6, scorching heat has made this summer one for the record books. This newly released map from NOAA shows temperatures were higher than normal across our state in August. The red there shows temperatures up by 4 to 5 degrees. Earlier in the summer, the high temperatures forcing cities to open up cooling centers and putting coral populations at risk. And while some spend more time in the water or in the air conditioning, there's a population that cannot seek that relief.
And that includes people living and working in state prisons. As I-Team investigator Kylie McGivern reports, most of Florida's state prisons don't have air conditioning, and it's something advocates say is a danger to everyone inside.
As we're talking about record-breaking heat, advocates have come together to shine a light on an often forgotten population. People in prison, saying that air conditioning is needed not only for the people who are incarcerated, but for those who work inside the prisons.
This is the hottest season, and it's not getting any better.
Connie Edson says it wasn't until her loved one was incarcerated that she learned most of Florida's state prisons have no air conditioning. Traveling to Tallahassee and speaking with lawmakers, she says she was the push behind getting a pilot program at Lowell Correctional Institution, the women's prison in Ocala, where they are now testing portable AC units that look like this. Still, she says, more needs to be done, and fast.
We've just gotten to a point this year that, enough is enough.
We traveled to the event in front of Orlando's City Hall, where prison reform advocates called on lawmakers to fund portable AC units at more state prisons to provide relief now for what they are calling a heat crisis. Lawmakers like Orange County State Representative LaVon Bracey Davis.
It was Miss Connie that educated me on what was happening in our state prisons. And so it made me go out and made me visit and made me ask questions of these wardens and what can we do to affect change.
Whether this is the permanent solution of the era, it's not. But you know what? It's going to help people right now. It's going to help the correctional officers and help us get volunteers so we can do the programs that we were funded for this year.
One of those volunteers, Matt Umbers.
This is torture for them, and when I asked them if there's one thing I can be your voice for on the outside, anything, you take your pick, they said the heat. That's it. That was their choice.
Ruben Saldana, who spent nearly 20 years in prison and now mentors Orlando area kids, says that's because of the problems the heat causes.
That's when the violence comes out. That's when the officers are no longer safe within the institution themselves. So I'm not saying give us a golf course. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying create conditions where it's not so dangerous.
Mark Caruso, a former sergeant for the Department of Corrections, says if you focus on the officers, conditions will improve for everyone.
We can better the conditions for them. What's going to happen? The conditions for the inmates are going to improve drastically.
Last session, lawmakers increased the amount of money that will stay in state prisons from the annual inmate trust fund. This fund isn't made up of tax dollars. It's the money loved ones put into inmates' accounts to buy things like soap and toothpaste and for making phone calls. None of that money goes to air conditioning.
We take better care of our animals than we're taking care of our loved ones in our prison.
Tampa State Representative Diane Hart's inmate treatment bill has called for all prisons to have air conditioning or air cooling systems.
Now that my colleagues on the opposite side of the aisle are beginning to visit our facilities, I think we may see some change.
The Florida Department of Corrections tells us all non-air conditioned dorms use some form of climate control to mitigate heat, such as fans or exhaust systems. And all housing units contain refrigerated water fountains to provide a source of cool water for the inmate population. The response differs from the reality those who work with people incarcerated describe.
You have to take your clothes off and lay in your underwear on a concrete floor, trapped in a 10 by 10 concrete room, and pour water on the floor so that you can keep your body temperature at a correct level to survive it.
We sent a list of follow-up questions weeks ago now, asking how long the pilot program is expected to last, what instructions the department provides inmates and staff on ways to prevent heat-related illnesses, and how many inmates and staff were treated for a heat-related illness in August. We also asked about reports of ice water that was supposed to be available. So far, no response. Edson says she's on a mission.
I won't rest until We have these in all the facilities.
For more information on the legislation that could bring about some change, head to our website, abcactionnews.com. In Orlando with photojournalist Matt McGlashan, I'm I-Team investigator Kylie McGivern taking action for you.